They told me to give you the elevator tour because that's how much time we have. This is the master bedroom right here. That's the bath. Guess what? You have your own door that takes you out to the patio right there, so follow me this way. We do have two Rod Demarys in the house here. Good to see you both. Now, this is former Shreveport Police Detective Rod Demery, and this is the man straight from Hollywood that plays him on the ID program, Murder Chose Me. We've almost come to take for granted our first responders. They rush to the scene, they save the day, and then calmly move on to the next emergency. Well, newsflash, they're people too. You thought I was done? No. Come on, let's go. I just got off the phone with Lieutenant Bill Davis, the spokesperson with Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office, and I flat out asked him, is there a crime scene, as the Oklahoma officials called it? That's how we're going to kick off tonight's event in style. If you're in South Shreveport, anywhere near East Ridge, look up to the sky around 7:15 or so. We're going to have somebody skydive right outside the clubhouse on the green out here, or the driving range, so maybe you'll get to see it from your own house. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 2,700 square feet, and a record 38.7 seconds.
It set the house back about 5 feet.
Troy Jones says his mother's house isn't what or where it used to be. The foundation is feet off its mark. Her propane tank landed some 75 yards downhill. And Mom's roof?
I guess the roof is in Louisiana.
Well, haven't seen it?
Haven't seen it.
But Mary could truly care less about a pile of shingles. She says she only cares about her mother, Charlesetta.
I don't know what he was. Got out there and started woo, 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 woo.
And her brother, Ricky. Those two were watching TV when the TV told them to watch out.
If we've got a tornado on the ground right now, this is a storm that's producing one.
I was watching the news, and they were telling us which way it was coming from.
And you could see Smithland right in the path of the storm on radar.
You can see some of the roads here. Marion County Road 3300.
Miss Charlesetta says that she and Ricky were here in the living room when Ricky said, we've got to get in the bathtub. And they made a quick dash to the bathroom. This is where you have to use your imagination a bit. This is where the bathroom used to sit, the tub right here. She says seconds after getting in, it hit.
I wasn't looking. I was under that quilt.
But under that blanket, the two of them could hear plenty.
And it started getting louder and louder.
Woo, woo, woo.
The whole house just started shaking. She said, oh, Lord. I said, yeah, here it comes.
Tubs are usually a safe bet since they're sunken in and tied into the ground through their plumbing. But the PVC here didn't stand a chance.
It lifted us up.
Next thing you know, I heard like a poof, and I knew the roof came off.
Ricky says he remembers the tub lifting straight up and then beginning to spin around and around.
I couldn't even tell you how high we were, but I don't even remember hitting the ground because it felt like somebody just had their hands on us and just placed us on the ground.
He says he landed some 20 feet away from his mother.
I crawled over there and jumped on top of her.
And with the wind still howling, he held on to her as tight as he could.
You don't remember telling me, I asked you, was you alive? You said, yeah, but I can't breathe because you suffocated me.
Oh.
Days later, the laughs are more frequent, and their faith is strong as ever.
God was watching over her.
But they know the story of flying through a tornado in a bathtub gets more unbelievable every time they tell it.
It happened. It happened.
It certainly did. Well, I'm telling you, I don't want to ride through now another one.
Tonight, in a KSLA News 12 investigation, we question the use of force, but also the manner and how the investigation was handled, from accusations of retaliation charges against the man arrested to a last-minute cash settlement by the city prohibiting him from talking to me on camera.
Where's your ID at, sir?
It's right there.
July 4th weekend in downtown Shreveport. It's a night when the alcohol is flowing, and officers are being dispatched all over the city. But the call at the center of an investigation by police internal affairs and the city prosecutor over the course of the last 6 months involved the arrest of a heavily intoxicated Paul Craig.
It's going to be white male. First name is Paul. Last name is Craig.
Former Shreveport Police Chief Jim Roberts, now retired from law enforcement after 20-plus years with SPD, agreed to view body camera, dash cam, and in-car camera footage from that night, video given to us by the city of Shreveport after a public records request.
I would have loved to have had a body camera when I was on the street policing.
If you stand up, we're going to pepper spray you, okay? Don't stand up.
He says these days, police videos generally offer up answers long before questions are ever asked.
Yeah, he's combative, so
No, I'm not combative.
Which nearly fits this evening to a T.
Well, during the initial investigation, when they first had him handcuffed, they did an excellent job talking with him and identifying him.
The police report indicates Samstown Casino Security called police when Craig refused to leave their property. After he was put in cuffs,
You got a warrant, man.
police realized Craig had a warrant for theft.
I did not.
Let's go ahead and stand up, man. You ready? On three.
Clearly, Craig's gamble to hit a casino with an active warrant didn't quite pay off.
My,
And he tells me between the alcohol and his frustration,
I ain't never said
he knows his mouth got the best of him that night.
my
63.3.
Vulgarity
phone.
and repeated uses of the N-word can certainly be button pressers for officers.
They did an excellent job getting him into the car.
Roberts notes the officers didn't allow Craig's abusive language to elevate the situation. However, shortly after Corporal Kendrick Vills opened the back door and warned Craig to stop spitting, that's when Corporal Vills can be seen delivering repeated blows with his foot, at least 2 of those kicks striking Craig in the head. One sent him flying across the back seat.
A little poor judgment moving the arrested person from one side of the car to the other.
2 months after the incident, during an internal investigation, Corporal Vills, now on administrative leave, reported he was just trying to move Craig to the other side of the car, behind the plexiglass, so he couldn't spit on them anymore. He told the police investigator his foot slipped, striking Craig in the face. However, in his initial narrative report from the night of the arrest, Vills made no mention of kicking the suspect, nor did he report this: getting back out and walking around to the other side of the police car and macing Craig directly in his face. And as you see in Officer Eric Alvarez's body cam, Alvarez begins coughing and gets out for fresh air.
I didn't realize you sprayed. Oh, you did?
Initially unaware his partner, Vills, had pepper sprayed Craig. Alvarez did list the use of pepper spray in his report. Was it necessary to mace him, double handcuffed in the back seat of that squad car?
Once he was behind the driver and the plexiglass, that's questionable.
The former police chief points out officers should be carrying spit guards, an easy fix for spitters, a mesh-like mask slipped over a suspect's head.
If they had a spit mask, they shouldn't have had the macing.
Do you see anything in there that you feel like an officer should get fired over?
It depends on a lot of things. It depends on the history of the officer.
And only the officer's private personnel file detailing Vills' 8+ years on the force could offer those answers. As for the incident itself, the case was forwarded to the Shreveport City Prosecutor's Office, but they declined to file charges. So you're probably asking, all right, what about some answers from the suspect in this case, Paul Craig? I had to wait for him to get out of jail. That was in December. Tracked him down. That wasn't easy because Craig says he's homeless. He says he remembers hardly anything that happened in this parking lot last July except for being pepper sprayed. So I invited him down to the studio to watch the tapes. He agreed. But last week, on the day of our appointment, he was a no-show. Well, it turns out days later, when I tracked him down again by phone, he said he had just accepted $3,000 from the city of Shreveport to drop the lawsuit against the police department, and he signed an agreement to not talk to the media. The city of Shreveport confirmed that amount.
That's what you got pepper sprayed for, man. It's spitting, so don't spit anymore.
Craig admitted to me he needed the cash in a bad way, and he approached Shreveport police with that offer. And the same week Craig settled out of court, it was announced Corporal Kendrick Vills had been terminated. Craig says all this started just days after he pled guilty to the charges stemming from that July incident, namely resisting arrest. He says he filed an administrative remedy procedures complaint over his arrest and detention. That's something inmates have to file before they file suit against the city or the police department. He says just days after he did that, he was pulled from his jail cell, rearrested, and then charged with intimidating a police officer.
That's why I'm going to kill the police.
I tracked down one of Craig's public defenders, and he explained to me over the phone when investigators were notified of Craig's complaint, they then reviewed the arrest tape.
I'm going to kill 15 police
You wouldn't be the first to try.
And ironically, that was when Craig was hit with intimidating an officer, a charge he claims was pure retaliation.
You don't know who the
And I want to make clear what Mr. Craig told me about what he feels all happened before he signed that agreement with the city. For nearly 2 months, I emailed the Shreveport Police Public Information Office requesting interviews and more information on a timeline of events. My emails went unanswered. I also left a message for Corporal Ville's attorney, but never got a return call. 400 miles into the chase and another quick stop for gas.
Yeah, this is craziness here. I'm just going to put it in. I'm not completely full, but I got enough.
It was apparent the storms were also fueled for more. The power started flickering at the pump even as we raced to get back in the truck.
They're talking about a storm with quarter-size hail and 60, 70-mile-an-hour winds going through Norman right now.
As night began to fall, storms from the west and south were now converging on the Oklahoma City metro. Our storm, which we had literally chased from the Texas state line, is no longer an immediate tornadic threat. The lightning and strong winds were still a concern, but it had visually transitioned into a beautiful gift from Mother Nature.
We saw power flashes under the lowering to our north.
As we approached the city in the distance, Val could see another lowering, a storm trying to funnel.
Guys, we just saw 3 power flashes.
Power flashes tell chasers super strong winds, possibly a tornado, are at ground level, blowing around power lines, bringing them and transformers down to the ground.
We saw a green power flash.
Watch again. The first one you can see just to the left of his cell phone, and another larger one just to the left of that.
But there is definitely a circulation there.
And as we would learn the next day, a tornado did touch down there just to our northwest in the suburb of Mustang.
Hey, big power flash! Big power flash!
We've now made it into Oklahoma City, the winds even more powerful, as we drove around to the northeast side of the city.
Man, this storm is ramping up. We just ran out of quarter-size hail a little bit earlier, and oh, there it comes back again. We're starting to get the hail again. And that's a sure sign the storm is strengthening.
At night, even chasers are left driving blind, so to speak. Lightning and our radar offering the only glimpses at what might lurk ahead.
Could be 5 miles to our southeast. Okay.
That's when Clay spotted a sudden change on the radar, a tight rotation just to our southeast.
Val is going east on 66.
So Val changes course and radios it in. On GPS and radar, we are the blue circle, driving east on historic Route 66. And the blue circular image to our southeast, a possible tornado moving in our direction.
Tornado warning. Tornado warning on this storm now.
Clay had spotted it, and we were tracking it before official warnings ever went out.
All right, it's 2 miles to our southeast.
2 southeast of us?
Southeast of us.
Clay and Amy estimated that we had roughly a 2-mile window to figure out how to track it or how to get out of its way.
Our winds are turning to the west. I think it must be just to our east, guys.
We had found our tornado, but it's night, and we can't see out our windows as the next few minutes played out.
We have 70-mile-an-hour west winds. Can you give us a location? We can't see nothing. We are getting 70 to 80-mile-an-hour west winds, guys.
We knew it was just ahead of us.
I've got nothing, guys. I'm blind. I can't. The radar's not updated.
But we didn't feel it was safe to move any closer as the tornado crossed right in front of us on Route 66 into a rural, less populated area. This is a historic Arcadia, part of Route 66. So we were roughly here last night.
With the blowing rain and the debris and the wind and everything just blowing around, we couldn't see 5 feet outside the truck.
Fortunately, where we had stopped, no damage, but about a mile to our northeast. What time was this last night?
It was between 8:30 and 9.
This home was hit by that same twister.
Ready for bed, laying down, watching TV. One of them said, you know, if you're in Luther, take precautions now.
So they ran to a neighbor's basement about the same time we were stopped in the nearby town of Arcadia, allowing the twister to pass in front of us.
So obviously you can see where it took the roof completely off here.
And he credits his family being alive today.
I think it's really important that if they say that there's a danger, you need to take that seriously and react accordingly, and that's what we did.
To the meteorologists and storm chasers who track storms for one reason: to save lives.
Always going to need those eyes in the field. I think the circulation is just right ahead of us. God has given me a passion to chase storms, and it helps people. You know, it keeps people safe. Hey, big power flash! Big power flash!